A blockbuster deal goes down today as the Rams acquire All-Pro cornerback Trent McDuffy from the Chiefs in exchange for the 29th overall pick this year. But wait, there's more. In addition, the Chiefs also received LA's 5th and 6th rounders in April and a 3rd rounder in the 2027 draft. So 4 picks for Trent McDuffy, who's expected to sign a long-term contract extension with the Rams. McDuffy turns 26 early next season. Blockbuster. Huddle up. Welcome to Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. Along with Barrett Brooks, I'm Michael Barkan. Some fireworks today, Double B. That's a lot of picks. 3 next month and 1 next year. What do you think of the Rams making this move?
They're trying to take it to the next level. They were close to being in the Super Bowl this year. They feel as though they're starting DB away from being a Super Bowl winning team. So I take it their quarterback is coming back. But when you go out and make a trade like that, you feel as though you're focused. You're ready to win big next year. So, I mean, I commend them for going out and getting what they needed to get to take them over the top.
Yeah. Think about those picks, those 4 picks, as we bring you our 3-point stance presented by Toyota. Stance number 1, Howie Roseman is crazy like a fox. He's spot on, setting a high asking price for A.J. Brown. Roseman wants, reportedly, a 1st and 2nd round pick for the wide receiver. We should note the Patriots, a rumored suitor for Brown, will reportedly be releasing receiver Stephon Diggs. Barrett, how many teams do you think will come close enough to get Howie to agree to a deal?
We only need one. We only need one suitor. When you look at it, he's one of the tops at his position. He's a top 5 receiver. He's been in the league 7 years, and 6 out of those 7 years, he's had over 1,000 yards. So the guy has production. He's a bird in the hand, and that's the way I still got to think of him. He's still on the Eagles roster. I want him to be here, and the more and more I hear stuff like this, it's tend to pushing me away that, all right, there might be a team that wants to go out there and get them a bird in the hand. So, you know, the production's going to be there wherever he is. If he's here, if he's in New England, if he's in, you know, KC, if he's in, wherever he is going to be one of the best guys on the team at the receiver position. You throw the ball to him, he's going to want the ball. He'll be just fine. I just can't see him leaving us right now.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
especially after what he said about playing in Philadelphia.
Absolutely. You know, because he feels though, you know, he can win a Super Bowl here. And I hope he feels that way. And I think he feels that way. He can win a Super Bowl here. So why not just stay here? Yes, you want the production. I understand you want to be a Hall of Famer. And when you can get with a quarterback that, you know, or an offense, not just a quarterback, but an offense that pass the ball like someone like the Rams as much as they do, you could be, you know, one of those top receivers, you know, getting that gold jacket. We're trying to get like the Rams. That's why we went out and got a offensive coordinator who thinks like the Rams and wants to play action, get the ball out of his hands, run different, you know, route patterns to get him open. This might be just what he needs. Man, let's keep him here. Let's just keep him here.
Let's just keep him right here. All right, but think about this, though, Double B. Chiefs now have a 29th pick and also have the 40th pick early in round 2. Might they get involved in the A.J. Brown sweepstakes? Can you see that?
Well, one of their receivers right now is in some trouble. Again, he's already, you know, had some trouble with driving. Rashee Rice is in a position right now that, I mean, he is going to be at least suspended again. So why not have and go out and get a guy that, you know, can be a weapon to the quarterback when he does come back, to the best quarterback in the league when he does come back? That's my thing. That's my sense that, you know, to them, a 29 pick is just like a 2nd rounder. It's very close to being a 2nd rounder. They can go in the, you know, 1st round. I believe how would do it.
All right, let's move on with this question, Barrett Brooks. You need a Phillips screwdriver in your toolbox, don't you?
Yes,
don't you? You're a do-it-yourselfer.
Absolutely.
You need a Phillips screwdriver. It's self-centering, has high torque application, and, of course, reduced slippage. You know that, Barrett Brooks. Stance 2, keeping Jaelan Phillips will be expensive, but worth it. The edge rusher is set to hit free agency Monday, but is reportedly the team's top priority. John Clark spoke with Charles Davis of CBS and the NFL Network on what he thinks happens with Phillips.
Jaelan Phillips is a heck of a ball player, all right? He just needs consistency of home, consistency of play. Miami over the last couple of years, you know, he's had injuries. Remember, I mean, he's trying to rush the passer against the Jets, and the Achilles pops on him. He bounces back. He plays fairly well. He's doing okay. But it's usually the year after that kind of injury when you're really back full. He can be back full here. And I think at this stage of his life and his career, money's valuable. Playing in winning situations in a spot to look good is just as valuable. That might work in the Eagles' favor when it comes to dollars and cents.
You need that Phillips screwdriver in your toolbox. Love Charles Davis. Love the way he explains the game. You can watch that interview on the Takeoff with John Clark podcast. Double B, do you think Phillips is back, and how high would you go on a contract for him?
I mean, we're talking at the very least, $20 million a year. And, like Charles just said, I worked with Charles before at NFL Films, and, he's hit it, right where he needed to hit it, and that's where he wants a home, but he also wants that dollar bill. This is, you don't get a lot of time to optimize your money-making ability. This is one of his chances, but I think he can get that chance here. $20 million a year for him. You look at a lot of guys, if they franchise tag him, it's $24 million. But if you give him $20 million, I think he would want to stay here. He loves, the coach, and he loves the environment. He loves Philly. He fell in love with our Silly. Maybe he gives us a hometown discount right at $20 million a year. He's going to get a lot more from other teams. I mean, there's no question that he is one of the top free agents in the market right now. And next Monday, it'll have to be done before that. It'll have to be done for that.
Stance number 3, the Eagles do have cheaper free agents worth retaining. And we've talked so much about Jaelan Phillips, Reed Blankenship, Dallas Goedert, Nakobe Dean, but the Eagles also have a host of guys below that tier who they could look to bring back. Barrett, who from this list do you want to keep?
Well, I mean, of that list, there's not a lot of guys that really jump out. One guy in particular I would love to be back is Braden Mann. Our punter is one of the best punters in the league. He averaged almost 50 yards, almost. He's actually 60 yards from averaging 50 yards a punt. He was my MVP last year. We've got to sign him back. It's imperative we sign him back. He's just that good. But when you look at that list, a lot of guys, really don't jump out. I mean, Fred Johnson, he did a great job for us last year, spelling, and played more than half the season, for Lane Johnson. And
how about Dory Jackson? He started slow, kind of picked it up, though, at the end.
Well, if he stays at that pick-me-up stage, I would say doing that. In fact, I think I would bring back Slade before I did that. Slade right now is a free agent. Bring him back. He'll come back. He wants to win. I look at the list also. I look at Grant Calcaterra. He just didn't do anything for me. And with this offense, you're going to need more tight ends. And he's just not someone that, I would bring back because he hasn't had the production I thought he should have had this year, especially with a contract year. Other than that, those guys on our list, Howell, Uche, Ojo, none of them guys.
BG? How about BG?
Well, if BG comes back, it'll probably have to be the veteran minimum. And I really think that BG might be somewhere else because somebody's going to offer him a little bit more than that. I think he's that good of a
player. But I know money's money, but at this point in his career, with his kids old enough to know what dad does for a living, his wife as well, they're all ensconced in this area. Would he really go to Seattle? Would he really go to L.A. or Kansas City or points west?
That almighty dollar will get you going where you're appreciated. And when somebody pays you, they're appreciating your services.
Birds Lounge, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. And we now welcome NFL draft analyst Ryan Fowler. The Combine just finished up in Indy, Ryan. How excited do you get this time of year?
It's the best time of year. Digging into 500-plus prospects is always the best time of year and always building a roster. Right? Seeing these young players compete, it really is the best time of year.
500-plus prospects. That's a lot to keep
track of. I keep telling them that.
It's amazing. All right, it's being accepted fairly universally, Ryan, that the Eagles should get themselves an heir apparent to Lane Johnson early in this draft. They've got the 23rd pick, as you know. Who is the player or maybe a couple of players you'd be targeting there if you're the Eagles?
Yeah, it's funny. Just a few days ago, we were talking about potentially Monroe Freeling, right, from Georgia being there. But really the focus for me is on Caden Proctor, 6'7", 352-pound presence from Alabama. And I really think the fit here overall as far as the tackle guard versatility that Caden could provide along this front five. The Eagles are best when they're winning the trenches, right? The ability to play a little bully ball up front. Nothing's ever wrong with that. His ability and the athleticism up front, I think right away he could come in and replace a guy like Tyler Steen in 2026. Not that Steen was bad by any means last year, but he would be an upgrade in that facet and then really be that heir apparent to Lane Johnson on the right side moving into 2027. And what makes really Caden so impressive, guys, not just the linear ability to get to A to B into the second level, to move guys off their spot, to displace players at 300 plus pounds. It really is the lower half. It's the footwork to counter guys at 245 pounds that you saw in the SEC, or guys that can maybe slide from inside out and be 290, 295 and have that footwork to mirror and match your hands with your footwork, which really makes Caden Proctor so special. And another guy from you guys, really athletically, just such a gifted player in this class is Max Ihenachor from Arizona State. Now, different from Proctor as far as a guy overall that is a little bit of a project. I think a player comes in where you preach coaching, you preach that player development, and moving into 27, he's a guy that maybe takes the redshirt year this year, learns behind Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata, and becomes that guy for the long term. But this is a guy in this class, not just pound for pound athletes in this group, but potentially over the last few classes at the tackle position as far as a gifted overall athlete. And the way that he moves will really expand what you do in the ground game, giving the ball to really your best athlete on offense with Saquon Barkley.
I'm an ex-offensive lineman. I love what you're preaching, man. But, hey, I got to go tight end. My guy this draft is Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq.
What?
Is there any shot he falls to 23 at this point? How high would you say, we could get him? Will we have to go down and get him? Where would you think we could be right in the mix of being a tight end like Sadiq?
Yeah, Barrett, I think really Kenyon Sadiq, right, is the flavor right now across the NFL. I think his floor, though, is at 15 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think he could go as high as even the top 10 with a team like the Saints or even the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, that's a dangerous pairing, of course, right there with Patrick Mahomes and company. But when you look at Kenyon Sadiq, what makes him so unique is when you combine the athletic profile at 6'3", 241 pounds, the top end speed, guys, that he reached in his 4.39 40, to add context to that number, was the same top end speed that Jahmyr Gibbs reached when he ran 4.3 back in 2023 at the Combine. So you can kind of see the athletic traits in the profile here that you're playing with a Kenyon Sadiq. So when you have that type of football player, when you watch the tape over the past few years at Oregon, you can see his versatility here on the screen to take an end around to the end zone. And then you also have that ability with the athletic traits and that athletic profile. Those guys just don't last long on boards, fellas.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. But if we don't get Sadiq, who are some of the day two tight ends that we might end up with?
Yeah, Barrett, look, there's a lot of talk right now as far as this is a loaded linebacker group. This is a loaded edge group. How about the receivers with the varied body types? I really like this tight end class. There were 27 of those guys invited to the Combine. And for me on day two, the focus is on Michael Trigg out of Baylor, a former highly rated recruit that started out his career at USC, spent 2 seasons at Ole Miss, but really found his niche this year in the Big 12 at Baylor. 84-plus inch wingspan is the longest ever measured at the Combine for tight ends, and is also just an elite athlete in space. Will expand this playbook horizontally pre-snap and vertical post-snap and give you another weapon that will force teams also on defense, guys, if you want to talk about matchups, as far as adding a corner or another safety on the football field because of how dynamic he can be with his catch radius in space.
All right, let's get to the talk of the NFL. Really, since the season ended, there is the very real possibility that the Eagles trade A.J. Brown and are instead looking for a receiver in the first round. One, do you agree with that premise? And two, even if you don't, give us a guy at wideout.
Yeah, I do agree with the premise of trading A.J. Brown. And I'll say this, and then I think DeMonte Smith can take another step as a wide receiver one in the NFL. I think his skill set and how beloved he is inside that building and what I think Sean Mannion's going to do this year through the air is going to be sensational. But I'll say this, guys, there is one player at 23 that I really have my eyes on, and that's KC Concepcion from Texas A&M. It's not just the player. It's not just the athletic profile. For me, it's the fit as well. When you look at Sean Mannion in Green Bay these last few years as an offensive assistant and as a quarterback's coach, you look at Matthew Golden and Christian Watson to beat you over the top, Romeo Doubs and Jaden Reed to beat you in the shallow to intermediate areas. Casey Concepcion would not be a wide receiver 1B to Devonta Smith. It would be a clear wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. And if you have that complement of football to where Devonta's winning all 3 levels and Casey's a guy that can win really the shallow to intermediate areas, Casey Concepcion is as dynamic as you'll find in this draft class, and he does not lose foot races. Whether you're inside the 20s or you're at your own 10 and you get the ball, whether at the line of scrimmage or 15 yards downfield, he is lightning in a bottle, is Casey Concepcion, a guy that scouts have known really since his freshman year, a dynamic freshman year at NC State a few years ago.